series of verses. It's a lot there, obviously, so it's a bit hard to digest it all of a sudden. But we can just go on, like going over and over this and meditating on it and digesting one little piece at a time. Actually, my attention was drawn to these verses from an old friend of mine called Nrsimha Prasad. That was his name, and he's passed away now. But he loved these verses, and he memorized the verses, and he shared it with me that these are really amazing verses, Abhay. You have to look at these ones. And since then, I became very attracted to these verses also and tried my best to memorize them. And this is...
How do you memorize them, Babaji? Like each word is so difficult.
It can be, but
read over and over again.
That's there, definitely that's there. But see, it's more than that. It's, you have to have, your heart has to be in it. Like some people are really into money, isn't it? So for them, it's very easy, making more money or whatever like that, because that's where their heart is.
Yeah.
Well, whatever, like if you're into art, then it's going to be very easy. But if you're not into art, then it's going to be very difficult. If you're really into cooking, it's going to become easy. If you're not into cooking, it's going to be very difficult. If you love children, it's going to be easy dealing with children. If you don't like children, it's going to be very difficult. So you get what I'm saying? If you really like a particular subject, then the tendency is you're going to learn it very quickly because you have the inspiration. It's very important. To do any activity, you have to have inspiration. Even like Gulshan, right, with Gloria Jeans, to do that requires inspiration. You have to have enthusiasm.
I was even making coffee while I'm dreaming as well.
Yes.
So first thing in the morning, I just making coffee, man. All day coffee. I smell like a coffee. I feel like a coffee. I just taste like a coffee. Everything just coffee.
Yes, thinking, breathing, everything is just daytime, nighttime. What's what you're into. So the same with this. If you get excited about it and inspired by it,
I guess if I excited like to Krishna,
verses,
day and night, Krishna, all the time.
But in the beginning, probably the inspiration may not be there so much, and mainly the inspiration comes from who?
Krishna.
Well, I'm not so sure about Krishna. We're not directly talking with Krishna, but normally
association.
Yeah, with the spiritual master, with the devotees. Like I know in the beginning, I just joined the Hare Krishnas in the 93, and then one guru came to the temple, and he in the class, he said everyone has to learn verses. And he really pushed the point and said why, because of this, and you have to do it. And basically, he put a lot of pressure that you have to learn verses. And that started me off. And in the beginning, there wasn't much attraction, inspiration, but the idea came from him. The inspiration was his inspiration. So he was very inspired, and that sort of rubbed off, like Gulshan said, by association. And I could see he's really on fire, he's really, in ecstasy, and so dynamic and everything like that, joyful. Let me try, and maybe I'll become a little bit like him. And then, so I started, and he told us which verses to learn. He said 4 seed verses from the Bhagavad Gita, 10th chapter, text 8 to 11, and then 4 verses from Bhagavatam, 2nd canto, 9th chapter, 33 to 36, and then in the 8th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, also 3 more verses, 9, 10, 11. So chapter 1. So like that, we started from those 11 verses, and because he pushed us, you have to do it. And then from then I really slowly got to like it. And those initial verses I learned really helped me a lot in my spiritual life. And then it was infectious, and then slowly more and more, and then as I went from those to like these.
Oh wow.
These are,
That's amazing.
each card is a verse. So slowly, but it's like anything. Even like if you go to the gym, right? Do you start off at the gym with big muscles?
No.
No.
But you just got to keep one every day, and you put one more, 500 grams more you're lifting every day like that. I heard Prabhupada say recently, he said that a man can't all of a sudden lift a cow. But if you start when it's a calf, everyone, when the calf is very young, when the cow is very young, a calf, then you can lift the calf, right?
Yeah. I've seen it.
Then the second day, the calf's a little bit bigger, and you lift it. And the third day, the calf's a little bit bigger, and you lift it. And like that, every day the calf is heavier, and every day you're a little bit stronger, right? You're a little bit stronger every day. But you can keep lifting it, because it's only getting a little bit heavier, and you're becoming a little bit stronger. So it's like that. You start off learning one verse, and then you become a little bit intellectually stronger, mentally stronger, and then you can learn another one, and then learn another one, and then you learn 3, and you remember the previous 2, and you learn 4, and you remember the previous 3, and like that. So slowly your capacity just increases. Like eventually, you can even have a person lifting a very heavy animal. If you followed that process, of course, no one does that. Who lifts an animal every day? No, but I mean, if
The cat.
someone did that, I mean, potentially you could lift very heavy objects. If you just lifting it and it's getting a little bit heavier every day, then you're going to become stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger, like that. So, but yeah, you've got to have the interest. So you start off with a little bit of interest, and then you start to get a taste for it, and you start to really enjoy it, and then you want to do more and more. And there's a really nice verse about that, how we can get knowledge. That's the 4th chapter text. 4th chapter text. 39. 4th chapter text 39. Yeah.
A faithful man who is dedicated to transcendental knowledge and who subdue his sense is eligible to achieve such knowledge, and having achieved he quickly attained the supreme spiritual peace. Okay.
So this is the formula for getting knowledge. How are you going to get these verses into your head? How are you going to remember the scriptures? This is the criteria here. You need to have faith in it. Do we have faith in what Krishna's saying? Do we have faith in what the spiritual master's saying? If you have faith in it, then you'll be able to understand it better. If you say, oh, this Bhagavad Gita is just mythology. This is just some fairy tale. This is superstition. If you don't have faith in it, then you're not going to understand it. But if you have faith in this, if you think this Bhagavad Gita is the absolute truth, this is a history. This is not a fairy tale. This actually happened on the earth 5,000 years ago. You can go to the place today, Kurukshetra, where the Pandavas fought with the Kauravas, where this took place. And Krishna actually appeared on this earth. He's not a mythological figure. the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appear on this earth like that. So if you have faith, then that's going to qualify, make you eligible. That means adhikar. The word for eligibility in Sanskrit is called adhikari. Like sometimes you'll see at devotees' names, it'll be like Sankarshan Das Adhikari or Krishna Das Adhikari. Adhikari means eligibility. So this we're talking about is what makes you eligible for receiving knowledge. So the first part of being eligible to receive knowledge is having faith. And then it's mentioned tatpara, which means you're very attached to it. We have to become attached to this knowledge, to these books. You have to become attached to this.
You only can attach that if you get reward. Some kind of experience you do it, you get attached. If you don't get it, you may not get attached.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a good point. And that happens, isn't it? Then
it does.
I mean, we hear this knowledge from the devotees, and it's just revolution in our life. I remember I went from being, completely ignorant to, I met devotees, and right in the first few days, they were telling me things that blew my mind. You're not the body. You're a spirit soul. That was just like revolutionary. That the soul is eternal. That it's part and parcel of Krishna. You're Krishna's eternal servant. And they're talking about karma, and talking about one of the first things the devotees told me is why it's wrong to kill animals, why it's wrong to kill cows. I coming from a meat eating background, being on farms, killing animals, then this was all just, revolutionary things. And it was just so, it's just like washing away all the ignorance. What's that?
I think it hits our like our consciousness really sharply, that it's kind of like turning on a switch, like all of a sudden.
Yeah,
like a light bulb. It's like, oh, I get it.
yeah. So many things that didn't make any sense, and suddenly, I could understand. It was really amazing, turning on a switch.
Yeah.
So we start getting, from hearing this knowledge, we start getting some good results, and then you're getting the good results, so you become attached to it. I want more. I want more of this knowledge. This knowledge is really helping me get free from suffering and be more happy. So I want more of this knowledge. So that's somehow we need to become attached to it.
So
You
Prabhu,
can't
can I
live
ask you a
without
question?
it.
Like, I was encouraged by many senior devotees that I should learn the slokas, not only just for studying sake and memorizing sake, but also so that when you're in difficulty, you can remember a sloka and sort of help you deal with those emotions and the turmoil that your mind's going through. Is that real? Like, do you actually, because I haven't experienced that yet. I mean, yes, I think of Krishna when I'm in trouble or when I'm disturbed. So do the verses come to you, like the right verses, to surrender more, to pray for more mercy? I don't know. Like, does that really happen? Because there's so many, like there's Bhagavatam, there's Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, all these little books. Like, how does that work? Like, how does the mind just come up with the right verse at that time?
Yeah, it can come up with the right verse. Like I say, it's all practice. But even if it's any verse, that each verse is an incarnation of Krishna. It's Krishna's words, God's words. So you're associating with Krishna. And just by remembering the verses, you're associating with Krishna. It lifts you up off the material platform of misery and ignorance. So it doesn't have to be any particular verse necessarily. It could be anything from the scriptures. I remember one time the devotees had to go to court because something had happened. Some thieves had come or something like that to the temple or something like that. And the devotee was was made to stand up in front of the court to present what he had seen in that, so as a witness. So he was very nervous. He didn't like public speaking. You know, that's one of the greatest fears people have, is like speaking in public and things like that. And, you know, you got the judge there and the jury and the prosecution and all these kind of people there. It can be a bit intimidating. So he was very nervous in that. But so the prosecutor guy, he said that he asked the question, so who was there at the time when this happened? So he remembered and repeated the names of different devotees that were there. Krishna Das was there, Ram Das was there, Narayan Das was there, and like that, he went through some different names of the devotees, and so he was just saying different names of God, and just associating with those names of God made him fearless. He became completely fearless.
Wow.
And he got over all of his anxiety and fear and everything like that. And he became very confident because he was actually associating with God by saying different names of God like that. So just somehow, if we can focus our mind on the scriptures, that will definitely help us to rise above the mental platform, like Bob was saying, the emotions, so many fears and anxieties and that are there. That will help us very much. And but yeah, getting back to this verse, so you have faith in the scriptures, and then you're very attached. You become very attached because you're getting good results, so you start to want more and more. And then controlling the senses, that's very important. How are you going to learn the scriptures if your mind is somewhere else? If your senses and your mind is somewhere else, it's not going to happen, right? Like for example, it's not recommended to be chanting japa while the TV is on.
Yeah,
Why is that?
because the whole idea of chanting is that you hear the holy sound of the Lord, and if you're engaged in hearing anything other than that, then there's no purpose of chanting.
Well, yeah, distraction, right? It's a
Yeah.
distraction. You're trying to focus on chanting. If you've got things that are distracting you, like the TV in the background, then how are you going to concentrate? It's going to make it more difficult. I mean, maybe some people can concentrate on chanting while the TV is playing, but for
Very
many
talented.
people, it will be very challenging. So
I don't think so. Anyone can concentrate when the TV is on chanting. If they're saying they're lying. Simple.
yeah, so I
Can't
mean,
do
but
that.
I
It's
know
only
for a
one
fact.
mind. Either we watch TV or do chanting.
Yeah.
You can't do things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. So therefore, this verse saying, if you want knowledge, you have to control your mind and senses. You know, and this is where we are now in the 6th chapter. You know, if you want to be a yogi, you have to control your mind and senses. How are you going to concentrate on the Supreme, which is Samadhi? Samadhi means you concentrate your mind on the Supreme. How are you going to do that if your mind is somewhere else? You know, your senses are somewhere else. You know, I mean, Vishwamitra was meditating, right? The great yogi Vishwamitra. What happened when a beautiful woman by the name Menaka came along? What happened to his meditation? Did it continue?
I would think he
No.
lost concentration.
Yeah, he lost concentration because he saw this beautiful woman, and then he smelt her, because these heavenly angels, they also have a very pleasing smell.
These days, I haven't seen any Menaka any around here. Nobody comes.
No, this is. I'm sorry, you're in the wrong yuga, Gulshan. If you want,
oh my God.
you're on the wrong planet.
Maybe Menaka comes there. I'm
heavenly
not a
planets.
Vishwamitra.
But that's actually a blessing that we're on this earth planet in Kali Yuga, that the distractions aren't so powerful, not so powerful. So we're very lucky. I mean, there are different obstacles now we face, but at least not so powerful in terms of course, the main attraction, which we read in the previous verses, attraction between the male and the female. So, and in Kali Yuga, it's not so strong. the men and women aren't so qualified as in previous ages and on other planets also. Very beautiful features and everything. So that's why it's said in the heavenly planets, it's very difficult to be Krishna conscious in heaven. Although everyone's pious there, people don't eat meat there or take intoxication, don't have illicit sex and gambling and all these things. There's no sinful activities there. But at the same time, there's a lot of distractions because everyone's so beautiful. So there's a lot of attraction there for the opposite sex like that. And your body is feeling very good and the senses are very strong. And yeah, it's just a very pleasing atmosphere for enjoyment. So it's very difficult there, it's said, to become fully Krishna conscious because there's a lot of distractions. So, but that's the main point, we have to control the senses if we want to progress spiritually. You can't be thinking about multiple things at the same time. Yeah, so Nilakanta Priya, yeah, so about the verses, yeah, it helps if you have an interest, an inspiration. And if you don't have the inspiration, then the best way to get that is by hearing about it. Like I heard about it from a spiritual master, from a devotee. Then you hear about all the benefits, all the good results you're going to get, and that'll help you. You've got to develop the inspiration. And then once you try it a little bit, then you'll start getting good results. And then you'll automatically yourself get attached to it. You'll get attached to it. Like if you started a business and you got a good profit from it, then you're going to become attached to that business, right? Because it's giving you very good results. There's some benefits there. And then at the same time, you have to keep your focus. You'll notice that even like successful businessmen, right? They're very focused. They don't get distracted. So just like what materialistically the formula is, we can apply that to spiritual life also. That you've got to concentrate your mind on one thing at a time. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I notice that sometimes with cooking. If you try to cook one item, that's easy. But if you try to cook two items at the same time, it becomes more difficult. Then 3 preparations, 4, 5, 6. If you got, say, 5 or 6 things cooking on the stove at the same time,
Yeah.
that becomes very difficult.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
often
it
what
happened
happens,
last Friday. I remember.
Yeah.
Mm.
Then the milk boils over, you burn the rice. It's very hard. Some people can do it, but it's very hard to concentrate on more than one thing at a time. And definitely in Krishna consciousness, how are you going to focus on Krishna if your mind is also thinking about women
Random
or
stuff.
men or friends or your house and your car and your bank account and
Yeah.
all kind of things. That's going to dilute. It's going to dilute your Krishna consciousness a lot. It's like even someone is married. How would that go? With your wife that I'm focused on you on Mondays, and I'm focused on someone else on Tuesdays, and I'm focused on someone else on Wednesdays, and I'm focused on someone else on Thursdays.
By the Saturday, you'll get divorced.
By Saturday at the latest, you'll be divorced. So,
That's too late.
then neither for the woman is going to be satisfied, nor for the man also. So.
Yeah.
I mean, even you see that quite often, like in Hindu culture, people worship demigods, right?
Yeah.
So on Mondays, they'll worship Shiva. and then on Tuesday they'll worship someone else.
Hanuman.
Tuesday on Hanuman on Tuesday,
Yeah.
Isn't
and then
that Saturday?
yeah, I was thinking Saturday,
Saturday?
but anyway, it
Saturday for
depends on.
Hanuman. Oh, Shani Dev on Tuesday.
Shani Dev on Saturday.
Oh,
Okay, whatever.
Durga on
You know,
Friday.
People pick their day.
I don't know.
But is that really very good? Because you're worshiping someone only one day of the week, then you go to someone else. That's
business.
like sort of not being very chaste, isn't it?
Yeah,
You
and there's
know,
no
is that-
love.
Yeah, I know. So that's not real love. The point is like someone that worships Krishna. Which days do we worship Krishna?
Every day.
Every day.
Every
All
day.
time. Yeah.
Every day, all the time. Sadatam kirtayanto mam kirtaniya sadahari. So it's all the time. We chant all the time. We worship him all the time, because it's love. When you have a relationship with someone like marriage, then it's every day, all day like that. It's not one day I'm with you, one day I'm with someone else. That's not going to work. So that we need to keep the mind focused. You need to keep your mind focused on one point, and that's called samadhi. So samadhi means focusing the mind on one point, and that's actually sama means equal, and
Somehow.
and d means that's your intelligence. That's your intelligence, your concentration, your mind. So someone that loves Krishna, they're on that point of loving Krishna. Wherever they look, it's just Krishna everywhere. That's samadhi. Everything is Krishna. We read about that. Where did we read about that? That 5th chapter, text number 18.
5th chapter.
Did you say 6:18?
5th chapter, text 18.
The humble sage, by the virtue of the true knowledge, see with an equal vision a learned and the general brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater, outcast.
So those are all externally different things, a dog, a cow, or a person like that. But the transcendentalist, he sees them all as the same. He sees God everywhere. He sees the soul everywhere. He sees God everywhere. So that's at that platform of love, of samadhi, that you're so much in love with the Lord that everything you see reminds you of him. Like it said, sometimes the gopis, the cowherd girls, would see a tamal tree which has very dark bark. So that dark bark was a similar color to Krishna's body. So whenever they saw that tree, it reminded them of Krishna. And they ran to that tree and gave the tree a hug. They embraced the tree. So maybe they are the original tree huggers. You've heard of tree huggers, right? It's becoming quite popular.
There is some
So
in
the
India
gopis,
still there.
yep. So the gopis are the original tree huggers because every time they saw that tree, it reminded them of Krishna. So that's the thing. That's samadhi stage. You're so in love with the Lord that everything reminds you of him.
Yeah, it happens that first time I fall in love, every girl looks the same as my girlfriend. But I didn't hug everyone. Everywhere I see that, I can see her.
Yeah. So that's at that point of samadhi, the highest stage of yoga, that you're in love with the Lord, and everything reminds you of him. And just like a mother loves the child, right? So even if the child's not there, what if the mother sees the child's shoes? What does the mother think of?
The child.
If
Safety.
you see the child's lunchbox,
Yeah.
what does the mother think of?
The child.
If you see the child's clothes, what does the mother think of? The child's everything. Child. So that's because love is there. So at that this is the samadhi stage, completely in love. Everything is the same, sama. Everything is see everything and connected with the Lord. So this is the process mentioned here. If we go back to today's verse, starting from text 20. So this Samadhi stage, this is the stage of perfection. So this is, if you look at this chapter, is the Dhyana Yoga, which is also known as Astanga Yoga. So Asta means 8, Anga means parts. So the last part of the Astanga Yoga system is Samadhi. So it's Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Dharana, Dhyana, and then Samadhi. So this is the final part of the Astanga Yoga. So this is the perfection. And it's a trance-like state, like it's saying here, and the stage of perfection called trance or Samadhi. So trance means like concentration, right? You're completely concentrated. In this case, on God. Of course, people may argue in different traditions what you're concentrating on. So what do different yoga practitioners concentrate on?
The breath.
Light.
Yeah. Some of them, that's their absorption. What they're focusing their mind on is the breath. Other things?
Candle.
A candle, yeah, light.
Candle, yeah.
Yeah.
Incense, maybe.
Yeah, some smell, could be anything. Some smells, concentrate on that. So I mean, the mind could be concentrate on anything, right? But actually, the ultimate object of concentration of the mind, of yoga, is God, is the beautiful form of God. All these other things that in modern day society, what people are concentrating on, yeah, it's an object. It is an object, but it's not the ultimate. Because Krishna is the only ultimate object of concentration for the mind, because what is the meaning of Krishna? All attractive. Krishna is so attractive to all of us. He's unlimitedly beautiful, unlimitedly strong, unlimitedly powerful, unlimitedly famous. You know, the 6 opulences. He's unlimited in everything. And the nature of Krishna is bliss. The nature of Krishna is bliss and happiness. What's the nature? Is the nature of your breath, if you're going to concentrate on your breath, is your breath full of ecstasy? It might be a smelly breath. Is it full of bliss? Is it eternal? Did you know one day that we're all going to take our last breath? Actually, when we're born, we have a quota given to us by the demigods. We have a quota of breaths when we're born. It's already been determined according to our past karma, how many breaths you have. All you can do, the only flexibility you have, is how fast you use them or how slowly you use them. Like in the yoga system, they try to slow down the breathing. If you slow down the breathing, what will that do to your lifespan?
Extend it.
Elongate it.
It'll extend it. If you use it faster, like jogging or sex, then it'll go, your life will be shorter. It might be a healthier short life. Like I had an uncle. His wife was born with a hole in her heart. So the doctor said she wasn't going to live very long. But she lived decade after decade with a hole in her heart. She had a pacemaker to regulate her heartbeats. And he was a fitness freak. And he was running all over the place, jogging, running, everything, bicycle, every kind of sport, rugby, soccer, everything. And is very fit. But do you know who lived longer?
She.
The wife.
Yeah, the wife lived longer. One day he just had a heart attack. He just died because he used up his last breath, because he was using them very quick. Running like that. Of course, he may have had very good health until that point, but yeah, he used up his breath. So, you know, what's the point of focusing on your breath? Your breath is one day going to take away your life.
There's been many people die on the squash courts, I tell you.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Many.
Yeah, you've used up
Is it-
thousands of breaths that day.
Like how? Do they get like heart attacks or something?
Well, like Abhay saying, maybe they drew their last breath.
Ah.
That was it. Their whatever 10 million quota or whatever was used up that day, you know. So, you know, or you meditate on a candle. Is the nature of a candle bliss and ecstasy?
Not really.
Have you ever
boring.
tried having a loving relationship with a candle?
I've tried.
Oh,
Initially.
Candle, I
really?
love you, my candle. I mean, I've
Oh,
got a pretty.
no, no,
I
no.
actually,
You might burn yourself.
No,
you
it's
might
not
burn
a loving
burn your
relationship.
house down with the candle. Actually, I bought a very special beeswax candle for my wife as a gift for my wife, and it's nearly 2 foot long, like it's
Whoa.
50-60 centimeter long candle. It's pretty impressive. But even though I must say, I mean, it is an impressive candle, but I haven't really found a lot of spiritual nourishment from it, a lot of bliss or ecstasy from the candle. I mean, it's good for
Your
lighting
wife
up.
probably would.
No, because but
Abhay,
it's because I
I
gave it so from the love of my heart, I gave it to her as
Yeah.
like a gift, right? So there's some love there between people, right? You know, because one soul giving a gift to another soul, and that's there within bhakti. In the nectar of instruction, there's in the 4th verse, 6 loving exchanges. Didati pradigranati, guyamakiti prichiti, bhukte bojate chaiva, sadvidim priti lakshanam. These are 6 kind of loving exchanges. To give charity, to receive charity means a gift. To give a gift, receive a gift. To reveal your mind in confidence. So someone's explaining and someone's asking questions in confidence, but confidentially. Not Gulshan tells me his innermost secrets and then I go and tell everyone on the planet on Facebook, you know, about it. No, it's confidential. So that's a loving exchange.
So like what you're doing now, like you're explaining the Bhagavad
Yeah.
Gita to us. Okay.
So this and that's how a relationship is growing.
Yep.
Because we are explaining and you're asking questions. So this is actually a loving exchange. And then probably the 3rd set, and probably the best, is that I'm feeding you and you're feeding me. And then, vice versa, so someone's giving food and someone's receiving the food. So these are loving exchanges. Like we've had got 2 guests here today, and that's why I was a little bit late. I didn't notice the time, and we gave them food, and they accepted the food. So this is a loving exchange, So
Sorry, Abhay. Sorry, can I just go back?
Yeah.
You said there were 6 exchanges. One
6 loving
was,
exchanges.
one was give and receive.
Yeah. So that's regarded
Secrets.
So that's regarded as 2.
Yeah, secrets.
So charity,
No,
secrets,
secretly, or you could say confidentially or secretly.
confidentiality. Yeah.
One person is explaining, or you could say revealing his mind, and the other person is asking questions and hearing. So you got, it takes 2 people to have a conversation, right? So one is hearing, and
But
one is
with the Amrita, you need only one person to have a conversation. It's a one-way conversation.
yeah, true. So
And then you feed me and feed you.
yeah. So I feed you and you accept that food. So one person is giving the food, one person's receiving it. And then another time it might be the other way around, right? Today I feed you and tomorrow you feed me. So, it's give and take. And that's what they say, love is give and take. Love is give and take. Today I give you a gift and you accept the gift. And tomorrow you give me a gift and I accept the gift.
But if tomorrow you don't give me a gift, you'll be in trouble.
But that's the thing, you don't expect it, because that becomes business. If you expect a return, so what's the difference between love and business? Love is you give
nothing
unconditional.
in return.
Yeah, it's unconditional. So I give to you, and if you kick me in the head, I still love you.
But the human love always on the condition. You cannot have an unconditional love in human, only with the God.
Yes, but like Abhay Charan Prabhu just read the sloka,
Pure,
right? In
pure,
chapter.
between pure souls and God,
Oh,
yeah, between God and the soul, or between other pure souls, you can. Even, oh, I actually just brought it up on the screen. Yep. Yeah, so that's pure love. You're giving service and you're not expecting anything in return. When you give service, yes, but you expect a return. Like, I'm giving you this product, but I expect $10. Then that becomes business. I mean, that's not bad. I mean, business has to be there because we have to maintain the body and everything like that. So business has to be there. But we need something more in our life than just business to fully satisfy the soul. The soul needs love. The body needs some business, but the soul doesn't need business. The soul can live without business, but the body can't. But the soul needs love, and if you just have business exchanges, but the soul's not going to be happy. And the example's given like the bird in the cage, right? If you just polish the cage and shine the mirrors and like that, but you don't feed the bird inside the cage, then the bird's not going to be very happy. So it's like that, if you just do everything for the body, but you don't take care of the needs of the soul, then it's a problem. And we have so much of that in modern day society. There's a lot of things for the body in modern day life, more than ever before, more sense gratification available than ever before, but you've got some mighty unhappy people.
Is there like that? If you like too much care about the body, soul will say, okay, next time I'll give you pig body. Nothing to care about it.
Well, definitely. I mean, if you do nothing for the soul, then definitely, I mean, the human life is given only for the purpose of realizing the soul, self-realization. So if you don't use it for self-realization, then you won't get this gift. Talking about a gift, this human body is a gift from Mother Nature to give us the opportunity to realize God and our relationship with God. If we don't use that gift, then you don't get the gift again. Then you'll get another gift. It's called animal, bird, plant, fish, so forth, So that's how it works. You have to use your God-given gift. It's said like that, right? It's a God-given ability, God-given gift. So this is a mercy. This human body's mercy from the higher authorities to help us get out of this miserable world. But if we don't use it, then they'll like if your dad gives you the keys to his car, here, son, drive, take the car for a drive, but be careful. But if you're not careful and you go and smash the car, what will happen next time? Will your dad come out again? Here, son, here's the keys.
No, first he's gonna beat me with a cricket bat.
After he beats you, yeah, then he won't give you the keys also.
Yes.
So that's the thing. You get given something very good, but if you misuse it or abuse it, then you won't get it again. Yeah. So yeah, this is getting back to the verse. This is the perfection as a samadhi, which means the real object for the mind to concentrate on is the beautiful form of the Supreme. So another point to acknowledge is that God has a form. God has a form. You're concentrating on the yogi is concentrating on the form of God. Like the Astanga yogi, he's concentrating on the form of Paramatma. So the super soul, the Paramatma, has a form also, like Krishna, but Paramatma has 4 arms, whereas Krishna has 2 arms. But basically, there's not much difference. That the super soul has 4 arms, Krishna has 2.
Is Krishna born with a 4-arm?
That's Paramatma.
No, he appeared in the material world with 4 arms.
Okay.
But that's not his original form. That's called Vasudeva Krishna. But Krishna's original form, Gopal Krishna, is 2 arms. But he has many forms. So the super soul is one form, it's Vishnu form. But they're meditating on the form of the Lord. Otherwise, that's not going to give you bliss. You just say God is energy. Like many people will say this. Other than Vaishnav devotees, many other so-called transcendentalists, they will say that God has no form, he's formless. It's called nirakar or arupa. So he has no form. But what are you going to meditate on? Okay, all of you, please, from now on, meditate on nothingness, that everything is one or nothing. Well, that doesn't really help much, does it? Because to focus the mind, you need a point. You need
same as
something.
when you go learn archery, you need to have a target. If you don't have a target, where are you gonna shoot the arrow to?
Yeah, shoot in the sky.
You're not gonna learn.
It's like that. It's not very effective. So
Prabhu, didn't Prabhupada say in one lecture that like when the impersonalists, when they achieve their goal of merging into the Brahma Jyoti, there's two reasons I think Prabhupada mentioned. That one, it's very boring because you're idle, there's no activity, so it's worse than being a tree. I think you reminded us of this a while ago, a few classes back, and the fact that there's no activity, and there was another thing, that you can't actually stay still even for a minute without thinking or seeing or being conscious. So how are you going to remain like that for X amount of time?
Yeah, stopping your desires. I mean, how are you going to stop your mind, stop all your desires? It's not possible. So the verse to understand this point, that this path where you're trying to focus on God, that's just energy without form, is very difficult. So that's the 12th chapter, text number 5. 12th chapter, text number 5. Because there's two kinds of transcendentalists, two categories.
Minds are attached to the unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme. Advancement is very troublesome. To make a progress in this discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied.
Okay. Yeah. So there's two kinds of transcendentalists, and the categories are personalists, and we are in that category, personalists. Personalists means you're understanding that God is a person. And the other category of transcendentalists is called impersonalists. Impersonalists means that your understanding is that God is not a person. It means he has no form.
Like a bright light.
Impersonalist people have got a temple.
Energy. What's that?
Like we personalists have got a temple, but impersonalists they got a temple as well?
They can do.
Okay, but then what's in the temple then?
Just a vacant room.
Usually it's just a vacant
really room. A temple.
Maybe with a candle in the middle. And
they can't.
And but sometimes, see, it's difficult to work it out sometimes, because sometimes the practices, which we call sadhana, of the impersonalists can look almost exactly the same as the practices of a personalist. It means even some impersonalists will read Bhagavad Gita, and some impersonalists chant japa, some impersonalists, they worship deities.
But
their goal is different.
That's externally hypocrite.
They're using that all those things, japa, the deities, the books, even they might have a guru, but it's all just like for the purpose of helping them to become God.
Yes.
To become one with everything. So that's their goal.
There's one more thing. They come to the conclusion and they're trying to prove what something isn't. So my Guru Maharaj always keeps saying that neti, 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 like logic and philosophy, it always comes down to that this is not. Like even a chair, right? They'll break down the composition of a chair and they say that this is not a chair. A chair is what you sit on, but actually it's fabric and it's wood. So they'll break it down like that to the point where it's completely decomposed and it's not used for what the purpose is made for. And therefore they think that material world is not real. I think that's the kind of conclusion they come to eventually. I don't know exactly.
Yeah,
but
they use a lot of confusing word jugglery. It's called word jugglery. So they make it sound very impressive.
Rascals.
Wow, rascals.
Prabhupada
Yeah.
calls them rascals, yes.
Rascals with very fancy vocabulary. So often they'll use. I know one time I heard this. We visited a beautiful Christian church in Newcastle, and you know that church on the hill. You guys from Newcastle,
Yeah,
that
I know.
beautiful church.
Yeah.
So they had some religious gathering there. We were invited. The Hare Krishnas were invited. This Christian scholar spoke, and he spoke so many, we call it bombastic words, so many big words, you know. And after speaking, and it sounded very amazing, you know, all these big words he was speaking. But at the end of his 1 hour talk, do you know what he said?
There's
He
no God.
said to everyone, don't worry if you didn't understand whatever I was speaking, because I don't understand it either.
At least he was honest.
He was the honest one. They just speak all this, you know,
Nonsense.
flowery words. Prabhupada uses the term flowery words.
Yeah.
Puspatam vacham, flowery words. But it doesn't have any
It
real
sounds
meaning.
blah, blah, blah,
You know,
blah.
but this is the maximum number in this category, impersonalists. That if the rare person that does believe that there is a God, but they will have the understanding that God is no form, that is just energy like that. And but as it's pointed out here, this is a very troublesome path, because see, we are a soul, and the soul is an individual person, and where we get our pleasure from is relationships, which is called bhakti rasa. Rasa means the pleasure, and bhakti means service. You know, that's how we develop the relationship. So this is the need of the soul, to have these loving relationships. And you can only have a relationship between persons. You can't have a relationship, like I said, to your candle, to a light, so forth, a chair, like that. So it just ends up very frustrating, very difficult. You know, if we're not concentrating on the Lord as a person, but just as an energy. So yeah, that was just the point I wanted to make out, that what are we concentrating on? We're concentrating on the Supreme Person. Well, you could say, okay, well, you're concentrating on a person, but well, I just concentrate on a woman or something, or on money.
Mm.
No, but see, that's just a temporary person. So that's not going to work either to satisfy the soul. You know, you're concentrating on, you know, I love my family and all this. Yeah. Yeah. And that's very good. You know, we're not saying don't love your family, but the problem with this, if you just focus on some temporary person, then that's also going to be problematic.
Because that person will leave one day, no matter
Yeah,
what.
that person will either, I'm going to leave first, or they're going to leave
Yeah,
first, or whatever like that.
definitely.
And there's never satisfaction. There's like, for example, like
Temporary satisfaction.
no,
Yeah.
but like even the one who's receiving, right, your service,
Mm.
they will never truly be satisfied.
Mm.
Like truly.
And that's because the satisfaction is looked at for the body, but the body can never be satisfied.
Bodily.
Yeah, but only satisfaction is on the spiritual. But if
Yeah.
we don't even know what is the soul, then how are we going to even get satisfaction? We don't even know what we're satisfying.
Yeah.
You've got to know what you're trying to satisfy first. So therefore, the beginning of the philosophy, like the second chapter, is you're not the body. You're a soul. So forget about satisfying. You know, you've got to try to satisfy the soul. I mean, not forget about the body, but I mean, that's already set up, isn't it? It's already set up. It's not rocket science.
Yeah.
You just need food for the body. You need a roof over the head of the body. You need clothes for the body. You know, you need a partner for the body or whatever. You know, so these things are already there. It's not rocket science. But then after you've got those things, what you want to focus on is the soul-to-soul relationships, and that's what's going to bring the real satisfaction. I mean, yeah, you need a house, you need money, you need a car, you need food, but that's not where you get your satisfaction from. That's one of the main problems in modern day society. We think that money plus car plus house plus family equals happiness.
Happiness.
Wrong. That's like saying 1 + 1 = 3. And then it's not going to work. You know, just having more material things doesn't make you more happy. What we often find is the opposite. That the more you have beyond what you need to survive, the more you have just causes stress and anxiety and fear and lamentation and so many negative emotions, lust, greed, anger, envy. I mean, look what happens when you get too much money. What happens? Envy, right?
Envy.
Everyone becomes envious of you. You know, jealous. Or what? You got the latest phone? You got the latest car? You got a beautiful wife? Do you know what it said that in the Vedic culture, it said, if you have a very beautiful wife, she is your enemy.
How?
Because your friends getting increased, number of friends.
Yeah, it means you're attracting so
Attracting
many
more friends.
persons that are going to try to pull you down. Because you're going to have all these competitors, all these competitors coming to take her. So you have to fight, basically fight off all the wolves, fight off the wolf pack, you know, to keep your beautiful wife. So it's said that, you know, a wife is too beautiful.
That beautiful will gonna get old one day anyway.
Yeah, eventually it's going to get old anyway. But while she's a spring chicken, you're going to have to fight off all the envious crowd, you know. Like that. So these things are there, you know. There's no real happiness in that. I mean, we need these things. It's a fact, you know. The body does, but the soul has different needs, and that's a loving relationship with the Supreme Soul. And Krishna never gets old. He never gets sick. He never dies. He never leaves us.
Sweet 16.
We've been reincarnating millions of times, right? In different bodies. That's what the scriptures say. And do you know there's only one person that never leaves us in all those incarnations?
Krishna.
Yeah, Krishna's the only one in the form of the super soul, Paramatma. If you said to your dear partner, "Oh, my beloved, if I incarnate as a cockroach, will you come with me?" If I take birth,
you already are.
She'll be calling us a cockroach. Yeah. So that's right. I mean, there's no one that really loves us other than Krishna. You know, no one's prepared. I mean, why would Krishna come from the spiritual world to this rotten material world and stay with us in all the abominable forms that we go in due to our silly material desires? You know, we want to fly, okay, become a bird, and, you know, I'll come with you, don't worry. And then I want to swim in the sea, okay, have a body of a fish, I'll come with you. Oh, I want to eat all kinds of things, okay, I'll give you the body of a pig and I'll come with you. You know, that's if that's not love, I don't know what is, you know. And what's Krishna getting out of that? Nothing. It's just because he loves us, because we're his children. And he'll come in any abominable place just to try to, you know, be there for us, to help us. Actually, we can't, in any body that we have, we can't do anything without Krishna. You think, oh, I'm scratching my head. No, you're not scratching your head. That's the super soul made the arrangement that your arm's going to come up to your head and scratch it. You know, without the super soul being there, you can't scratch your nose. Gulshan, stop scratching your head.
Scratching. There is nothing in there anyway. What's the point of scratching?
You know, you can't put the food in your mouth. You know, if the super soul left you for 1 minute, you couldn't breathe. You couldn't breathe. Your heart wouldn't beat. You couldn't put food in your mouth. You couldn't walk. You know, he's with us because he's controlling everything. You know, there is one thing we control only. Do you know what that is?
The free will to either listen to Krishna or not to listen to Krishna. I don't know.
Yeah, basically your desires.
Yeah.
And all the soul is doing. How big are we? We're 1/10,000th the thickness of a hair. If you grab one of these things and pull out the hair, and then chop it up
I don't
100
think so. We
times.
got this material eyes. You can't see the soul.
I know, because it's so small. So you cut it 100 times, and then that 100th part, you cut it another 100 times. So that's 10,000. And then that's how big we are. And what we can't do anything, you know, all we're doing is desiring. And, you know, we desire to scratch our head, and Krishna makes it happen.
Fulfills that.
Desire to eat something, and Krishna
Wow.
helps. So
He has to witness.
you can look at that, second chapter, text 47. If you don't.
Like, how bad is that for Krishna? Like, he's situated in complete happy mood with Srimati Radharani and all the various enjoyments you can think of. And yet he's here to fulfill our stupid, irrelevant things that we want to achieve.
Mm.
You
No,
have a
that's-
right to perform your
I've got
prescribed duty, but you
No, I've got the wrong verse. Sorry, 327.
327. Spelling
See,
mistake.
I need the super soul to be able to remember where the verses are. 327.
Okay. A spirit soul bewildered by influence of false ego think himself the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by the three modes of material nature.
Yeah, so everything's carried out by the material nature, and the material nature is under Krishna's control.
Mm.
See, everything, nothing, we're not doing anything. See, the false ego means the false ego. What is false ego? It means we're thinking we're doing it.
We are doer.
We're in control. That's the false ego. We think we're the doer.
Right.
But actually, the modes of material nature doing everything.
Mm.
Modes of material nature doing everything.
Okay.
But the free will is not material nature. Like
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what we have control over.
oh, okay.
Is our desires. We have some free choice. So, like Neelakanta was saying that you know, we can choose. We can desire to serve Krishna or desire to serve our senses, like that. So that's our control. And of course, material nature is under control of God. So material nature's making all the arrangements, and that's under the control of the Supreme Lord. Mm. So yeah, so it's much easier to concentrate your mind on the form of the Lord rather than trying to focus on some energy.
Prabhu, this is where I get a little bit confused. Is that if we are not the doer, then Krishna can easily make the material modes force us to remember Krishna. But because we are given the free will, eventually the responsibility is on us. Whether we are serving Krishna, whether we're remembering Krishna.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's so difficult. Like it's so difficult. Like sometimes, you know, like I'll be out to work and I'll be like, oh my God, I haven't got prasadam today. So I'll have to eat out. And oh, Krishna, I'm sorry, I didn't bring any prasadam today, but I need to eat because I'm really hungry. So that, you know, that free will is there with you, but it's so hard sometimes. So aren't you the doer then? Like, aren't you the free will? Isn't that still like? So how can you not be in that false ego mode and yet be responsible?
No, we are responsible. Once we make the choice, then the modes of material nature do the rest.
Okay.
But see, because of misusing our free choice previously, we get locked in. So that's why we're called conditioned souls, right? We're subject to so many conditions, and we have so many limitations now because of our past misuse of free choice. Now our free choice is very limited. That's why it said minute free choice.
You must be very lucky, Abhay Prabhu. You can make your own prasadam, offer the deity, and you can eat it, sit down nicely. Compared to someone who's, you know, working in the army, has to be reported to the barrack.
Yeah. So yeah, in some cases we have more free choice, some less. But so it depends how we've used our free choice in the past. I mean, if you're in the body of a dog
Mm.
or something like that, I mean, you
What
pretty
choice
much
do
don't
you
have
have?
any free choice, you know, because you're forced to act like a dog and go bark, you know, and eat all kind of rubbish stuff, you know. So, and that's because of his past karma that he has the body of a dog. But basically, there's no difference in the soul inside of a dog and the soul inside of our bodies. But the only difference is their past choices, like that. So yeah, it's like a straitjacket being in
The
this
dog doesn't
material
have a
body.
free will. We got a free will.
Yeah, but even then, it's very limited. It's even, still you're
By the
conditioned to
votes.
think that you're a man, or that we're a woman or whatever like that. That
Well,
we're
at least we can think
yeah.
better than dog.
Actually, our friends that have come today, they're just about to leave. So please excuse me. We'll have to stop a little bit early today.
Oh, okay.
No
Yeah.
worries.
And
Thank you so much,
we'll have
everyone.
to-
Thank
Hare Krishna.
you.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.